Well, hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good. Do you know, I've spent all morning, it's year end for me, it's financial year end. So I've been doing loads of shredding, and it's just like the most therapeutic few hours of my year because like I'm just destroying all my bad financial mistakes. It's great. I'm feeling really,
You're cleansing. You're getting
yeah,
a financial cleanse.
exactly. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Yeah. How about
You
you?
know, this is not even remotely related to the topic we were excited to talk about today, but you don't have to save your paperwork for a certain number of years.
Yeah, 6 years. So now I'm reflecting on my mistakes I made 6 years ago.
Oh God. All right, let's enough about you. Enough about
Oh,
you and your finances. Let's get to something that I actually, we've given birth to something really exciting in these last couple weeks. Is that too dramatic?
Um, no, I don't think it is actually. It just we put something out there. We've published our first association transformation white paper, and
Right.
actually it's landed really well.
Well, and association transformation is now more than just a transatlantic conversation. It's global. It's now, I would consider us a think tank, putting out material and advancing,
Yeah,
pretty exciting conversations.
I like it. I like it very much. And so yeah, I mean, I think our inspiration to publish our white paper around the role of artificial intelligence in strategic planning. It's timely for many reasons, not least because AI is it's just changing the way we live. It changes the way we work. Uh, God, goodness me, almost on a sometimes it feels like an hourly basis, but maybe on like a weekly or monthly basis. Things are constantly evolving um, in terms of how we're engaging with artificial intelligence. And we both, as you know, as our listeners know, we spend a lot of time strat planning with our clients around the world. And
Yeah, I mean, it's my number one project. It's
yeah,
my number one engagement type with clients. And, I don't want to say we waited a little while for AI to kind of play itself out for others to take, some initial bites at that apple, but we wanted to, really take cast a wide net and really have a broad conversation because you're right, AI is moving so rapidly. Strategic planning, on the other hand, has been somewhat stagnant, I would say, since maybe the 70s or 80s. People consider it in the same way. And I find clients all the time who are dreading it because of how they did it
oh
10 years ago or 20
yeah,
years ago. And
that's
so I think this is an infusion of innovation.
yeah.
No matter how you approach AI, I think this is an opportunity to look at strategic planning differently. And I'm
Yes.
excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting though you say that as yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought of it in that context about how we strategic plan. And yeah, you're right. It kind of hasn't evolved the process, but
Well,
I
mine has. I mean, my process is
well,
pretty,
yeah, I mean, it's a
life
royal. Yeah,
altering.
yeah. Well, yours is obviously, and quite frankly, when I do it, people's lives are altered. Uh, but it's interesting because actually, I was thinking, well, no, that's not true. But actually, I think in the membership world, in the association world, our volunteer leaders and our staff executive leaders have evolved, I think, significantly over the last 10 years in how they approach strategic planning. And yeah, you're right. Some people do still dread it because it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it was terrible when we did it last time. But actually, I think as more people now are understanding the the value and the impact and the necessity of really robust strategic planning that's based on data, it's evidence based, as well as that kind of personal experience based. I think people are embracing strategic planning in a far more positive way than they used to. But obviously it was as I was saying that because ChatGPT and all the other Genesis and all the other tools that are popping up on our desktop, it stands to reason that it's not going to be very long before we are actively using artificial intelligence in how we, in our strategic planning processes, as well as, delivering our strategic plans. And that's kind of the background
Well,
to our white paper.
and I think we're talking about very different, there's different ways to apply AI. And that's what
Yeah.
we put out a serious report here. I mean, this was 25 pages. This was a glossary. This was, I'm really proud of what we did in the white paper, which people can find at associationtransformation.org under the white papers section. But I think if we were to just have a 20-minute kind of summary discussion of what that white paper conveyed and hopefully the conversations that it instigates, I think that we need to remind people that strategic planning is, well, AI cannot decide your strategy.
No.
You cannot offload your strategic planning support or buy-in or all those human factors that are necessary within strategic planning to AI. But there are a lot of great opportunities to utilize AI within, whether it be a new process, an old process, whatever strategic planning looks like to you. I think that there are ways to involve and improve that process with AI.
And I think one of the things we've been guilty of is assuming that artificial intelligence is a substitute for human intelligence, emotional intelligence. And the reality is, as AI currently, looks, it can't exercise critical thinking. It can't engage in the kind of strategic analysis that we can as humans. And I think one of the things we've been guilty of, again, it's the royal we've been guilty of, is assuming that, or looking at artificial intelligence and saying, well, unless it can give us the end result, what's the point in using it? And actually, I think using it as part of your arsenal, as part of your toolbox, it is fundamental to your success. And so, how does artificial intelligence add value to your strategic planning process? Well, for me, the very first piece is around data.
Right.
Data. I mean, we know that increasingly strategic planning processes are, we want them. You and I advocate it relentlessly. We want our strategies to be evidence-based, to be built around, data around what our members want, what our members need, what they expect, what's worked, what hasn't worked, etc. So for me, the opportunity to use artificial intelligence in terms of data gathering and data analysis is critical.
Okay, so that's our first big bucket here, and that's data, the data bucket. But we both have acknowledged to each other, and I think we hear others say this as well, what you get out from an AI-supported data analysis is only as good as the data that you put in.
Absolutely.
So AI cannot make your output any more valid, any more relevant, any more applicable than a normal analysis if what you're putting into it is still not credible, still not complete, still not recent, still not representative. So AI doesn't change the quality of your data. It very well may, and I believe does, help you in that distillation and that summary of. And so that data bucket can be both internal, can be financial, can be distillation of feedback and survey data. It can be market analysis. There's a lot of opportunities for that, but I think we have to remember to question the quality of data first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, and I think if we're not confident in the credibility of our data, then, our own cognitive biases, our very human cognitive biases will seep into, machine learning algorithms, because as you rightly say, we're either unknowingly introducing them into the artificial intelligence process, or we're uploading, biased data consciously, and that will skew the results that that the AI produces. And actually that then, one of the reasons we called, the subtext for the white paper is avoiding algorithm aversion. And algorithm aversion is a very real problem for for any team, any organization, any team using artificial intelligence, because there is this, rightly or wrongly, this perception that the machine will always be right. And as soon as the machine is not right, we almost completely lose trust in the system. We're far more forgiving of human error than we are of machine error. But as you rightly say, we forget that the data that the AI is learning from, well, that's the data that we're giving it. That's what we're feeding it.
Yeah.
Wherever that's coming from, we have to be absolutely 100% confident that that is the data that we want to use, and that it is clean, and that it is relevant, and that it's robust.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we should be doing that anyway, regardless of whether we're using artificial intelligence or not. But
Well, and maybe maybe the more pure opportunity to use AI in a data-driven sense is on the back end at the execution and tracking after the plan has been launched,
definitely,
using it to manage progress, using it to use the word track and account for
yeah,
what's being done, what has been done. Because if you're starting with a new commitment to data based on KPIs that have been defined in the new strategic plan, then you figure, okay, this is a fresh start for
yeah.
new and accurate data moving forward. So I think that data bucket and where AI can have its probably largest impact today, given what it's capable of now, is in this data bucket, both at the discovery phase and the analysis phase, but also in the execution and tracking and I would say accountability phase.
Absolutely. That's our second bucket. That's our second kind of focus for how creating and executing our plans using artificial intelligence. It's a huge opportunity. It's going to save time, it's going to save money, it's going to save resources, it's going to allow us to redirect our efforts where our efforts need to be redirected. AI can help in terms of creating and executing plans for implementing and monitoring the strategic plan. It can use project management and workflow automation tools to assign and coordinate tasks. It can use decision support and optimization tools. The functionality exists to direct it to work, independently. On that execution piece, absolutely 100%, 100%. And you're right in terms of then analyzing and understanding performance based around the data that you're creating post strategic plan publication are huge. And then you're very much into that very positive affirmative cycle of, we've got good data, we're going to use our data, it's going to continue to feed the data machine, as it were, in a really positive way.
All right, so data is kind of the safe bucket. Say data is the place where AI is ready to be a valuable tool, as long as you're honest about your data and you commit to it in a logical manner.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other side of this, the other bucket that AI may be expected to contribute to. I think this is more the gray area, and that's predictive and decision making contributions to strategic planning. This is an area that I don't believe
No.
AI should be trusted or leaned upon or empowered to own, if that makes sense. When you and I started writing this paper, my first question to you as we teased out the outline was, does AI put strategic planning experts, strategic planning facilitators out of business? And I think this is the bucket that reinforces for me that answer is no.
Completely. And it's a fair question, and I would hate to see a scenario where, oh gosh, I would hate to see a scenario where anybody adopted 100% AI for developing its strategic plan, because it's impossible. As we said, it's a tactical tool. AI is a tactical tool, and it complements the human skills of critical thinking, strategic analysis, reasoning, judgment, problem solving. the reality is, here we are in April 2024. AI doesn't have that functionality. It doesn't. I think we perceive it, arguably. And certainly, and I hold my hands up. When done a huge amount of research, we've done a huge amount of research around this so that we could publish this white paper and speak authoritatively about it. But before we got into that research, yeah, I was sitting there thinking, so what? I mean, can AI actually just write a plan? Of course it can't. But it can. It just won't be a very good one. And it wouldn't be a particularly relevant one. And it wouldn't necessarily get you to where you want to be. You'd probably do a very straightforward sort of A to B operational output project management plan, as we've said, but it certainly couldn't get into the nuts and bolts of what the cognitive process that drives strategic planning, strategic development. It is an intellectually demanding process. Like I said, reasoning, problem solving. You need a corporate learning culture. To inform their decisions, leadership teams have got to identify patterns, gain insights, and yes, they've got to use probability techniques to support that judgment. AI can totally help in that, but fundamentally, the process is still human-led, underpinned by artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Yeah. So not that I haven't been listening to you. I've been listening intently to your thoughts, but I did just ask ChatGPT, not my favorite tool, but I think the most, publicly acceptable tool. I did ask ChatGPT to provide a 3-year strategic plan for association transformation.
Oh God.
I thought it'd be funny to see what we get. No other prompts, no other data provided.
Yeah.
And it gives me 3 years. Year 1, assess and plan. Year 2, implement and engage. Year 3, grow and sustain. I guess this is kind of like a no-duh situation. Like this is so generic. And again, I gave them no data. I gave it no information, but I think this shows you and reminds me that strategic planning is as much an art as it is a science. And that's what I love about it. I am confident as a strategic planner that my instinct and my ability to engage and excite and get the board and leadership involved can never be replaced. But it's not to say that this isn't kind of a nice starting straw man to then be filled in.
Totally. You can absolutely use it for, use it to formulate your ideas. That's okay. That's okay. It's not, in that sense, it's no different than, looking at Wikipedia. It's not different. It's just another tool is my point. But AI can do things like, it can use natural language processing or natural language generation to create and communicate those clear and compelling statements. But you've got to feed into that. And I think it's interesting when you're talking about, when we talk about, culture, corporate culture, there is no way that artificial intelligence is going to understand the nuances of the dynamics that permeate across your organization, across your association. There is no way. Crikey, sometimes, as a chief exec, I couldn't understand the dynamics that were permeating in my association. So there's no way that, artificial intelligence is going to substitute those insights that we bring to the table at all. But using it to formulate and evaluate your ideas, totally use it, add it as another tool or another, in your toolbox. And in you doing that, it helps you save time. You can save time and you can save money by automating and streamlining, those data heavy pieces or those project management planning processes. Absolutely use it to analyze data so that you get responses that you can then act on and respond to. But no, okay, so that's what we got to do. Is
so I just funny. I just asked ChatGPT to write a strategic plan for you.
Oh, for me personally.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I just wrote, write a strategic plan for Andrew Chamberlain, and it kicked out Andrew Chamberlain's strategic career plan.
Oh my God.
Again, I did not put in the word career. And then I asked it to do one for me. Again, all I said was, please write a strategic plan for Elisa Pratt.
Yeah.
And mine came out with a vision and a mission and core values. I mean, it's crazy. And this is what's scary about all of this
Yeah.
is with the same prompt, just two different names. What is it possibly pulling from? How
Yeah.
does it differentiate? How does it derive what to say, what not to say? And again, I don't know anything about algorithms. I don't know anything about the knowledge base that it's pulling from, but this is, I guess exciting, scary. I just hope through the white paper that people see AI as an opportunity when
Yeah.
used correctly, that it can allow you to reach beyond your grasp in the sense of analysis and data digestion,
Yeah.
also in that accountability side. But if you're trying to empower AI to replace decision making, you're making a serious miscalculation. And I hope that AI is never capable of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm completely on board with that. Actually, I'm completely on board with that. I like that, I mean, when where we are today in, it's say April 24 when we're recording this, just like, the internet revolutionized how we live and how we work in the 90s and the noughties, and then during the tens, or the aughts, as I somebody did somebody hear somebody call it the aughts the other day?
what?
Yeah, the aughts. I don't know, the 2010s.
I
Um,
don't even know what word you're saying.
aughts, a as in naught, as in OUGHT, aught, the noughts.
Oh, ought. Okay.
Art.
Like you ought to do that.
Oh,
Okay.
no, not aught, not aught.
OUGHT, like you ought.
Oh, please,
I'm
chat
sorry. Is
GPT
this a moment for translation?
translation. Yeah, it's a translation.
Is this a translation moment sponsored by Association Transformation?
Anyway, the reality is just like the internet revolutionized it, just like mobile tech and cloud technology changed how we access and use our data in the 2010s, artificial intelligence is does represent a fundamental shift in how we work and how we play. And what we can't be is we can't be afraid of it. We have to understand it. The reality is that, tools like AI tools like Jasper or Gemini or Microsoft Copilot.
Jasper. I've never heard of Jasper.
Well, it's a good job. I did all the research around around all the tools.
But I thought that was a special one. I mean, I use
JASPR.
Claude and I haven't used any of the image creating ones yet. That I think that actually is an area where AI could be really fun to
See,
use in strategic planning is in some of the visualization
yeah,
of
yeah,
goals and because it's hard to craft a graphic or an inspirational icon around engagement, around member education or even workforce development, all these terms
yeah.
that I use a lot in strategic planning. And then the client asks me to turn it into a visual. And I find myself really bored by the same icons over and over and over. And I would love to use AI's, image generation tools to see how we could, you know,
Yeah,
make make this more sensory, make strategic planning more sensory.
I've used it. I've used the Canvas AI tool, and
I mean, I don't know. I use Canva. Doesn't it just automatically help me?
oh, there's a specific yeah, there's a specific AI tool in it that you type in what you wanted to, no, as you just described, right? Workforce development, group of people enjoying being members of this amazing trade association. You give it the language, and then it churns out an image. I think, again, it's like the potential's there. But
Yeah.
this is like it feels. Do you know when I used it? I thought this feels like dial-up internet felt. You know,
I'm
we're on the verge of something, but this sure as hell isn't, fiber optic broadband that we're using. So this is something significant. And a business survey that was conducted last year, 3,000 business experts, or business leaders rather, from across the world engaged in a survey around, how generative AI tools will impact their workforce over the next sort of 12 months. And overwhelmingly, they estimate that 20 hours of our working week by the end of this year, by the end of the next 8 months, half of our working week could be given over to using artificial intelligence.
Wait, by when?
By the end of this year, by the end of
Oh,
2025.
wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's seismic. That's seismic, which is why we shouldn't be afraid of it. Which is what, but
Right.
I think we have to recognize that we are totally in, like I say, we're in the dial-up days of artificial intelligence. We're
I
nowhere
like that.
near, we're nowhere near where we're going to get to. Um,
Yeah.
so we need, so it's okay to pace ourselves. It's okay to say, actually, yes, we're going to use artificial intelligence, but we're not going to throw ourselves in and do it all. We're going to begin to utilize it in our planning process. And I think how you
Right.
described it, which is commit now to having really good, clean, healthy data, and then, yeah, use the AI now, but actually commit to over the cycle of the next strategic plan, really, learn it, learn how it works, learn how you benefit from it, learn how you can utilize it to your organization's, optimum benefits. That's kind of where I'm at the moment.
And I think that's probably the big takeaway from the white paper is explore, be curious, find opportunities
Totally.
to let AI help make you better, to help evolve your process. But as we talk about automations over history, as we talk about technology advancements over time, I hope all they're doing is freeing you up to do the big thinking,
Yes.
not to take away the big thinking, not to replace the big thinking, but they free you up from the mundane. They free you up from things that can be replicated and can be outsourced, and the administrative components of these processes to allow you more gut check, more human engagement, more big thinking. Because if we, again, if 20 hours is taken off our plates, what can we do with that? What power might we be able to harness in some pretty high level strategic ways
Oh,
with that extra?
and if you think about your board is, I always am talking to organizations and talking about how they're conducting, their board meetings, their board, you're coming together maybe quarterly, some come together monthly, whatever, but you're only meeting for an extremely short amount of time in a year. Relative to, everyone else's day jobs, maybe 24 hours, maybe 36 hours in a year you're coming together. So actually being able to halve your time by saying, or double your time rather, do it the other way around, double your time effectively by utilizing these tools could be, would be, will be incredible. But I think it's really, really important also in the white paper, we map out what types of artificial intelligence there are and why they matter. Because, you know, there isn't one size fits all. I think it's really important that we understand when people talk about artificial narrow intelligence, general intelligence, weak or strong intelligence, super intelligence, reactive AI, limited memory AI, theory of mind AI.
Oh,
It goes
geez.
on and on and on. Descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, prescriptive, diagnostic analytics. These are. I mean, we, that when we were writing the paper, crikey, we felt overwhelmed. It was like, my
Uh,
God, just trying to summarize this material
well,
is.
and it changes so fast. I mean, that's why I wasn't necessarily sold on doing this. Was a lot of work, and it's such a moving target. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad, it's been out for about almost 4 weeks now. I'm so excited that everyone's responded so well. I think it has spawned new conversations, and I know that it's helped me think in different ways about how I approach strategic planning with my clients and how I help them live with their strategic plan after the process has completed.
Well,
Um,
it's had
but we now have a white paper section on associationtransformation.org. So are we promising here to
we are.
keep giving Andrew and Elisa's take on hot topics?
Yeah, because nobody else wrote this paper, and I didn't see one coming. So yeah,
right.
And I feel like that,
right.
And in fact, I was looking at the data earlier on. We've 300 downloads in this white paper just this week.
I know. This is like more popular than you've ever been. This is exciting.
How dare you? How dare you? When I pay LinkedIn, I get loads of engagements.
How many clicks was your mom? How many clicks was your
mom? Oh, no. She uses artificial intelligence to skim over anything that I publish.
So what, again, it's April 15th. We're here in the middle of the month. It's Q2. This white paper's been out for a month. I don't really know what the shelf life of a white paper is anymore, but what are we going to take on this spring? Pitch me on our next white paper.
Oh my goodness me.
Well, I have an idea.
Go on.
Why don't we decide and plan to announce our next white paper on our 100th episode at our podcast party on May 2nd?
Oh, it's the segues. It's like
do you love it?
It's like we've been doing this for 97 episodes and know what we're doing now. What do you mean announce it or launch it? Because
that's only like 2.5 weeks away. I think we should
just
announce the topic, because I don't want people reading it at the party. I want people partying at the party.
So when's this? Remind me, it's what, May 2nd?
Oh my goodness. Thursday, May 2nd.
Yeah.
Our fan base, our guests, our Association Transformation family has requested that we host the party in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
So we will be announcing the venue and here in the next couple days. We are excited to announce our exclusive sponsor. We had to beat them back, but very excited to announce ACGI Software is going to be the exclusive partner and sponsor of our party.
Thank you very much, ACGI Software.
ACGI, very excited. So yeah, May 2nd, Thursday, it'll be our spring reception. It'll be our 100th episode celebration. It's our podcast pop-up party in Northern Virginia.
But before that, if you're going to be in Dallas next week, you can come and see us both.
We are going to be in Dallas. That's right. We're speaking at the Dallas
Association Executives Association Day. We're going to be talking about strategic planning. So if you're going to be in Frisco, then come and see us. Stop by. In fact,
that'll be fine. God, we haven't even seen each other in years.
When was the last time we saw each other?
Oh my God, we're going to be in the same room together.
2 years ago, I think, was the last time we saw.
I don't mean to say that with such. Well, we're going to be together.
Listeners are kind of wondering, why do they bother recording this podcast together? Because she clearly hates him. So
that's not true. That's not true. You make me want to be better.
So
you inspire me.
No, you're too kind. Well, I want us to record when we're in Dallas as well next week. I want us to get on the floor, chat to some people, see what's going on, and
fun.
Yeah, when we get back, then we can put it out the door.
All right, cool. All right, well then I'll see you in Dallas. Travel safe. Again, thanks to everyone who's downloaded the white paper to date. You can find it at associationtransformation.org. And mark your calendars, everyone. Listeners, guests, friends of the show, anyone who's working with Brewer Pratt Solutions or Elevated or ACGI Software, we will see you on May 2nd. Location to be announced. I think I'm going to lock it down tomorrow. So probably here pretty soon we'll put that out there to everybody. We want
to make sure our Belgian listeners have time to book their flights.
And your mom. We need your mom.
No, come in. Oh my God, no.
All right. Well, until then, put your members and your mission first.
Yeah.